This morning's guest spent his early years bussing tables at the Sea Captain's house. Today, he's the chairman of the board of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort at Grand Dunes. We're focused on the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, and we're visiting with its chairman of the board, Steve Chapman. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
How exciting to think, of course, here last Thursday, the 67th annual meeting of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. So much going on, so much happening that day. And what about some of those great featured speakers?
They were. It was great. It was a great event. First of all, because of the attendance we had. I think we've never had that many. We actually had to cut off the ticket sales, and we're trying to expand the room. And due to another event next door, we were limited in doing that. So, it's great. The membership's growing, and that's great for the chamber. That's the heart and soul of our Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely, membership.
And the speaker, Rhonda Rich, she was great in the morning, and with the titles of the books she writes, the Southern women.
What Southern women know, and it's what they know about flirting.
She was a character. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed listening to her, and actually I wouldn't say I'd ever read. It's not a book I would pick out to buy and read, but with what she said, it almost makes you want to go get one. If a man to go get one.
She actually was with us yesterday and the day before here filming. She came back to spend some time with us. Of course, very exciting. She highlighted that a lot of her readers for her column, Dixie Divas, which is in our show sponsor, the Herald, that she's gotten about 65 papers, but she highlighted that a lot of her readers are men. About 40% of them are men.
Okay. Well,
John Schlatter last Thursday from Associated
Insurance. Maybe I'm not out of sync in saying
exactly.
that.
No, even more exciting, she actually wrote a book about NASCAR. I think it's My Life in the Pits.
Yeah, so I believe it would be right on that a guy may want to pick up, and maybe I'm not too far off, I guess.
Not at all. Not at all. There's so many things going on in the Myrtle Beach area, and obviously this new commitment for you as chairman of the board of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. There is a ton going on. Brad Dean talking last week, probably one of the biggest cheerleaders for the area, but a lot that was discussed in the chamber luncheon last week.
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, it was great attendance. Had a lot of people out. Membership has been going well. They're recruiting enough new members and renewing of old memberships, and so the membership is the lifeblood of the chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And then also with this new marketing co-op, us being able to find through a creative, innovative way of getting new dollars raised to help market and promote the destination on a scale that we've never even we've dreamed of in the past, but never been able to get there. And to say that this coming year that we'll likely get very close to spending 5 times what we spent 2 years ago.
Wow,
it's phenomenal. It's a credit to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach has always been one to when the time was needed and when it was a challenge we were presented with a challenge like we are today, and finding the funds to compete with the destinations who go after our market share. We've always managed to come together as a business community, as a tourism community, with the hotel operators, the golf courses, and now we're bringing the restaurants into the fold, the amusements and the theaters, and through this 1% or $1 a night contribution, raise the kind of dollars we're talking about, and then on top of that, to have our General Assembly, through the help of our legislative delegation, and have the legislators from across the state to recognize that tourism now is the #1 industry in South Carolina, and just to get them to commit, with that big old
that $5 million check, that was unbelievable. Steve, you all up there accepting that. Obviously on behalf of the chamber, to know that'll be plowed right back into marketing is tremendous.
Absolutely.
It's tremendous, and this is not old hat. This is old hat for you. You've been seeing this personally. You've been seeing this year after year where Myrtle Beach is ready for the challenge and takes it on.
We are, and it's an honor for me to serve as chairman, and particularly when I look at those who have served before me as chair, and then also just served on the board, and the ones I've served with, currently and then the ones who in the past few years. And being a part of that group, involved with that group, and the discussion we have, it's been a great learning experience for me. Things that I can take back to my business and do better, but also just to see how important it is for us to work together as a community, as a group. We could never do what we just did or what we're in the process of doing if we didn't sit down at the table together collectively and discuss it, talk about it, beat it up, change it, shape it to make it so it's going to work. And we're not there yet. We're getting better with it. So it was my turn to serve as chair, and I'm happy to do it. I'm looking forward to where we're heading.
Steve, are you originally from the area?
I am. Born and raised here.
Is that right? A Myrtle Beach native?
I'm one of the few natives nowadays, I guess you would say.
That is fantastic. Do you have family in the area still?
I do. Both my mother and my father's family are from here.
Great.
So my father's family actually came here in the 30s with on kind of a part-time venture with a lady from up in Chesterfield. He was an attorney from Chesterfield, South Carolina.
Your dad was an attorney?
My grandfather.
Or your grandfather, excuse me, in the 30s, that's right, yeah.
And he was an attorney in Chesterfield, South Carolina, post-Depression, which was a very difficult time in rural South Carolina.
Right, yeah.
And he was a great storyteller, and one of the ones he always likes to tell was that, after getting paid with chickens and hens and hams and stuff like that for a period of time, it became very, very difficult to pay his bills and pay his mortgage. But nevertheless, he stayed up there for a while, was family court judge, was the mayor of Chesterfield, and a part-time venture or a side venture with another lady. They bought a boarding house down here in Myrtle Beach, and it was just a beach house where they had 7 or 8 rooms, and they ran it for a couple of years, and then they elevated the building and built a dining room underneath, and which it became the Chesterfield Inn. And my family owned and operated it for, along with the Britton family.
With the Brittons, yes.
For close to 60 years. So Clay Britton was my grandfather's nephew, and he came down. Granddad got him to come down one summer when he was about 16.
From Alamance County, from Burlington, or in that part of North Carolina, right?
That's right. And I don't know if his mother ever gave Granddad for that. I think I remember Granddad telling me that because he brought Clay down here and he never went back on. Well, he stayed down there and raised his family, and you know the story well of how successful their family has been.
Oh, yes.
A variety of different
do you all remain in some partnerships, or do you all stay active together?
Well, our families, having been together for so long, it just made sense for, as we were growing and expanding, to kind of each of us to do our own thing, to maintain relationships and partnership. But we still work together in some marketing projects and talk to each other quite a bit. And David, of course, is the immediate past chair, and he, as a matter of fact, how I became involved with the board was he called me one day and said, all right, we're having a meeting down at the Chamber of Commerce to talk with the board about some issues of the marketing and some ideas and concepts we have, and we need you to come down there as one of the, he saw this thing kind of a mentor for me, I guess you would say, of sorts. But being one of I was the token small hotel operator there. Right. So here I am 5 years later. I should have mentioned in the meeting today, on Thursday, that I didn't realize it was going to turn into a 5-year commitment, but it's been great. And
we've heard that before from the likes of folks like Chef Guyton talking about. I had no idea it would be or Bernie Dove, or folks that suffered through 2 years, or I guess in that instance where you're the incoming chair, then you're the chair, then you're the immediate past chair. You've got to be in that for at least 3 years there.
That's right. And Shep had to, he was the chairman right after Ashby passed. Right. And just to ensure that we had some continuity with the board and that the leadership, we decided to freeze the board for 1 year, or they decided at the time, which I think was probably a good decision.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually served an additional year.
It was unbelievable,
A little bit longer than everybody else. But it's been a great experience for me serving on the board, and I just have a great respect and admiration for what it is that the board does for our community.
Break that down for viewers, just so viewers understand. You all are obviously a volunteer board. How does the chamber operate? And just a little bit about what is its intention there? It's truly to grow the area.
Absolutely. Well, before I served on the board, we always participated in the Stay and Play Guide, which is the destination marketing fulfillment piece that we have. And I always bought my ad, and I knew that the chamber was a chamber of commerce, but was just not really familiar with what all it does for our community. And now, having served on the board for the last few years and working with Brad Dean and the staff that he has, and Brad has just really taken it to a new level with the
unbelievable,
the political advocacy we have and the relationships we have with our local legislative delegation, with our legislators in Columbia. The creation of the marketing co-op, which was initiated through discussions in some of the board meetings we had, and then the 2-for-1 match from Columbia, late school, all kind of across the board political initiatives, the late school starts program, the changing of the mini bottle legislation that we had.
Very big.
So we're all have tremendous impacts on our community, as well as the I-73 project that we're now working on. Just so, I guess, get back to my point, it's of having served for the last few years and now being chairman, I have just a great appreciation for what it is the chamber does for us and how important it is for all of us to support the chamber in any way we can. Just continue, because somebody, we're all in the business of marketing our own business. I'm a hotel operator, there's restaurant operators.
The Island Vista is going strong. You guys have had gangbuster growth the last number of years.
We've had a great start. We've been out there for a year and a half now, and we're doing well.
With the new facility, you all had a different facility and just redid it in that same location.
That's right.
Had you grown up working in that location?
No, I worked there some growing up. I actually worked at a number of, as I was telling you earlier, we had the Chesterfield Inn. Our family had that. So I worked down there. And at the time, Clay Britton, which is David's father, was running that. Yeah. His wife ran the dining room, so I worked in the dining room for a number of years there growing up. And I worked for David at the Seacamp's house for many years, and I worked in the kitchen, bussing tables, waiting tables, just kind of every job. Yeah. So we all kind of, my family and the Britton family kids grew up kind of working wherever you were needed in the restaurant or the hotel part of the operation.
Right. So you obviously at some point figured out, I'm going to get back and get over to the Island Vista, get into that facility and really do it right there.
That's right. That's correct. Originally, when I came out of school, I went to the Citadel in Charleston, and at the time was considering going in the Army to get my commission and going in for a 5-year run. And my grandfather was not real happy about that. He wanted me to come back and immediately get to work. So about the time, right before I was due to graduate, was the end of the Cold War. They tore down the Berlin Wall, and they cut commissions by 60%. And so they announced that at school, and said, all right, we're cutting back the number of commissions we're issuing, and if there's any guys that are having thoughts about basically asking for volunteers, and I felt like, and Granddad was pushing me on the other side, so I felt like the writing was on the wall, and at that point I decided to come back home and not go in the Army.
Tremendous.
So we and then ultimately we ended up with the Sea Island, which is now the Island Vista. Right. And we decided when the market was in its fevered frenzy a couple of years ago, and we were getting approached by developers at every turn about, this is a great opportunity to renew your facility, and we sat down and talked about it and said, well, if we're ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. And so we jumped in with both feet, closed down October of 2004, and opened back up in May of last year. And,
May of 06.
May of 06.
So that's a year and a half process.
It was a little over 19 months, I think, is what the total time went down. So,
wow.